Even before COVID-19 was here, we have a concern that in most cases, and in checking with some of our international partners, that you can have homeless person contracting COVID and not receiving medical attention. And when I say not receiving medical attention, I mean that they may not seek medical attention. Um, Homeless, especially the worst case part of homeless, this which is what you call the vagrancy stage. We found over the years that persons would have had broken limbs on their body, people that have certain ailments, and they would have refused to seek medical attention for one reason or the other, because some would have been from the stigmatization, some would be from the fact that these guys just believe that they could just rally out and get over it. While a lot of persons may think that the homeless have this thing as their immune system strong because they eat out of the garbage and they eat out of this. That's ignorance. And this is a disease which isn't a respecter of any person, not even animal. So our concern would have always been the fact that if COVID spreads through Barbados, that you may have homeless persons carrying the virus and not seeking medical attention, and that is like for me the main concern. Because you may be able to quarantine or isolate persons that said yes, I have symptoms, so I'm going to go seek medical attention. But what about those who don't, who may have the symptoms in the homeless community and say, well, I ain't going nowhere. And then you're thinking that you're getting rid of it from one aspect, you're not getting rid, because when they go to feeding, they're very close together, bunch up at feeding. They're rubbing against each other. They beg tourists for money, so they're going close to persons. They're touching money. They put their hand in their face. They may knock each other. They may whatever when they greet each other. So they lay down in on chairs and benches in town, and then you go sit down in chairs and benches and carry home it on your clothes and then put it on your bed, whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of possibilities as it relates to the homeless, and that was always our main concern.
And since voicing that concern, has there been any reach out by government to include them in the plan, or not at this point?
I've tried to reach the minister, and I've tried to reach some relevant personnel as it relates to getting some more information, and as it relates to having a plan. We've devised our own plan here, but we need to know that our plan is good enough. What plans that we've came up with would have been based on what we've seen and what we've heard and what we've learned over the last couple of months, and last couple of weeks. So we started to put that in place to protect us, to protect our clients. And because you're looking at two population here, really homeless population, but you're also looking at the staff population, and then their family. So we've started to look at ways that we can put. We've been in contact with international partners that have put things in place. I've been following the news as it relates to what other countries, especially the USA, have commissioned other homeless organizations to do, and that is something that we would like to see what we can adapt from that to be able to help us here in Barbados. But we have not yet gotten a response, and my trying to reach the relevant authorities has not yet been successful.
So ideally, what would you like to see implemented for the homeless in this situation?
Well, I can tell you what we've implemented and what we've tried to do, depending on the levels that we start to rise or fall in, meaning that depending on what the government protocol, I should say, what the government alert stages are. So if it's as it is stage one for us, what we've started to do is we have portable hand sanitizers in office. So we've started to use our portable hand sanitizers before. As you enter the building, you must sanitize, and you can come in. We started to educate them, started letting them watch some information on COVID, and as much as we can every day, we have conversations with them as much as possible. Our stage two, just in case the COVID spreads a little bit more, would be to use our other means, which is we have on in the building. We have our own temperature guns, so we can take temperatures where they come in. We're also going to initiate questionnaire. So simple questions could be, do you have any flu-like symptoms? Are you coughing? Have you been in contact with anyone from like any guests while you were here? You interacted with any guests? Other things could be like, have you sanitized? Have you, well, last you had a bath? or last you sanitize your hands. So we have those things in place to basically ask those simple questions, but also being able to still provide our services. Other things will be like our care pack. So we're gonna give them like pairs of gloves. We're gonna give them, if we can find some more, masks. We also want to give them bottles of hand sanitizers, very small pour. They could come for refills because we have enough to give them as much as possible until our stock runs out. We would also give them the liquid to wash their hands continuously, and we will provide here for any facilities for them needed to wash their hands. And we were thinking about contracting a pipe somewhere on the property, so if they need to come to the property on the outside or anything like that, they can just come and wash their hands as frequently as possible. So we're still looking at that, but also it depends on the stage that we go into. If we go into another stage, let's say stage 3, what we are willing to do, and we have to, this is where government has to come on board with us now. We are willing to allow our facility to be opened where the homeless could actually come here and stay. They could stay for 14 days, or if it needs to be pushed longer, but we would have to have partnership with government that the homeless could come here and stay for the 14 days or 30 days, but they would not be allowed to leave and come and leave, and they would have to stay. If they leave, then they would more likely have to seek any other assistance elsewhere. But while we are here, they would be able to stay, and obviously it would entail that persons that doing feedings would have to look to bring feeding here. We would also look at speaking with feeders to cut off any large group feedings, because feedings could come into like 100 persons to 120 persons, and I said they bunch up. So we would initiate for that where they could do feeding, but one person have feet apart, and then they call them one, let them sit wherever they want to sit, and then let them come one by one for the food and take a step of have a certain 2 to 3 feet away. For us here with the breakfast that we do, we will initiate that you can only come and collect breakfast and go. So they will no longer be able to sit and get breakfast, but they can come and take it and go, and we would distribute it. So to make sure that they're still fed, but also to make sure we're protecting ourselves and they're protecting themselves. And I said, we have the temperature guns and we have different things that we've been watching, and we've been investing our money into as much products as possible, because there's still a large amount of persons. We may not be able to reach every homeless person on the island, but as much as we can reach, we will give a care package to, and we will make sure that they get as much. And we are also printing out as much information on small cards and whatever for them to read, what to do, how to do things, where not to put your hands. We also encourage them not to do the arm bouncing, because it makes no sense. Because if you're sneezing in your arm and then you're bouncing somebody, it's still ways of transmitting it on your clothes and what's not. So we've tried to give them as much education as possible every day. Even this morning, just educating. The team will go on the road. They will give them as much education, but it depends on the threat level. But we also need to be guided by the professionals, and that we are not being guided at this point. We're just being guided based on knowledge that we've accumulated on our own.